Up next, we're going to talk about a comic book series that is filled with keys, and some of them have just popped recently. Some of them may experience movement in the future. We're going to take a look at this series up next on this video from Bronzeville Comics. Hey there everyone, this is Jim from Bronzeville Comics coming to you with another video. Before we get started, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Follow us on Instagram, Bronzeville_comics. On Whatnot, Bronzeville_comics. I've scheduled the next 3 Monday night shows. We go on Monday night at 10 o'clock. Next Monday, the 25th, is a Spider-Man night. Then August 1st is going to be Daredevil. And August 8th is going to be Sandman. Right after the series premieres on Netflix. I'm really looking forward to that series. In the meantime, just keep an eye out. I might be doing some pop-up shows. Also, check out my eBay store. Link in the description below for some of the more oddball titles, more unique comics that I've come across recently. Anyway, in this video, we're going to talk about a series, an anthology series, that has an enormous number of keys. This is a series that ran for 61 issues from 1972 through 1981. Now, anthologies were very popular throughout most of comic books. Almost every character, Namor, Human Torch, they started in Timely Comics and Marvel Mystery Comics. Superman in Action, Batman in Detective, Wonder Woman in Sensation Comics. So many of the comic books of the time, Captain Marvel and Wiz Comics. And really what DC did starting in the 1950s was use anthology titles to give the opportunity to showcase characters that may, if they prove successful enough, get their own titles. Showcase number 4 starred the Silver Age version of The Flash, later on Challengers of the Unknown, Hal Jordan version of Green Lantern, Adam Strange, all the way through to the Inferior Five, Angel and the Ape, in titles that, or features that did get their own title, even for a short period of time. For a while, they also used Brave and the Bold similarly. Brave and the Bold initially was an anthology title which had Silent Knight and Viking Prince, these 1950s action period pieces, but they kind of transitioned that to be more of a tryout with Justice League of America, Hawkman, Teen Titans, Metamorpho, before the book became a team-up book and before it became a team-up book of Batman and whoever the guest star of the month was. Well, Marvel did the same thing with many titles in the 1970s, most notably Marvel Spotlight, which premiered characters like Werewolf by Night and Ghost Rider. They also had Marvel Presents, Special Marvel Edition, other books that gave characters a tryout before they got their own series. This particular title, which began in 1972 with issue number 1, is Marvel Premiere, which was not the first appearance of this character, but is when the character gets the name Warlock. Previously, he was known as him in those 2 Fantastic Four issues, and then in that Thor story arc. Here, he became Warlock, got the new costume. Actually, Gil Kane did the cover and art. Starlin wasn't on the book yet. And when I talk about the books in this run, I'm going to talk about what you would probably have to pay for a high-grade raw copy. I'm not going to talk about 9.8s because 9.8s for books in the 1970s are really difficult to find. And a lot of the issues in this series are not going to be slabbed, even in the 9.8. But there are a lot of keys. As I said, 39 of the 61 issues, or 64% of the books in this run, are listed as keys by Key Collector. Some of them are minor keys, and some of them are major keys, and some are keys that do have some room to grow. Now, Warlock was featured for the first 2 issues of Marvel Premiere before moving on to his own title. starting with issue number 3 and through issue number 14, Doctor Strange took over the feature role. He had previously had his own title that came out of Strange Tales when Nick Fury went over and got his own series, when Marvel had the ability to produce more books per month. But that book, when he became like the superhero with the mask, the full mask, was eventually canceled, and then Doctor Strange was brought back for issue number 3. Now, the second Warlock book, issue number 2, the first issue is about a $300 book. The second one is about $60, and also about $60 for that first Doctor Strange book. Most of the other Doctor Strange books are $20, and maybe the later issues about $10. There are some minor keys. Number 5 is the first mention of Shumagorath. Number 7 is the first cover appearance of Wong, which I think is an undervalued book at $20, considering how big Wong is becoming in the MCU, played by Benedict Wong. And I think we're going to continue to see more of him, not just in Doctor Strange properties. Obviously, we saw him in Shang-Chi. Probably show up again elsewhere. And number 10 is the priciest book in the Doctor Strange run, and that is the first appearance of Shumagorath. Now, Shumagorath is a one-eyed octopus from another dimension. That book is about an $80 book for a high-grade raw copy. We saw a one-eyed octopus in the Doctor Strange trailer, and there was all sorts of speculation about whether that was Shumagorath or, based on a Lego set that was solicited, Gargantos, who had appeared in one issue of Submariner. Before the Doctor Strange movie came out, I did a video comparing the two characters. I don't think it was either one. Now, Shumagorath was a character that was originally written or mentioned in a Robert E. Howard story. Robert E. Howard, who was the creator of Conan and Kull the Conqueror and other characters, passed away very early, very young in the 1930s. Wrote pulps, but his estate still retains the rights to those characters, and they were licensed to Marvel during the 1970s. But number 10 is also the death of the Ancient One, and then in issue number 11, Doctor Strange becomes a Sorcerer Supreme. Those books are probably in the $10 to $20 range. His last issue was number 13. Number 14. Before moving over to his own self-titled series, starting with issue 1. And I've been dealing with some technical issues here. That's why my shirt changed, because I had to come back and do the rest of this video another day. So that's also why the video has been delayed a day in terms of its release. Anyway, we're talking about Doctor Strange. Now, Doctor Strange finished up his run on Marvel Premiere with issue number 14. With issue number 15, introduced a brand new character who would remain in the Marvel Premiere book until issue 25 when he got his own series, and that is Iron Fist. And the first appearance of Iron Fist in Marvel Premiere number 15 is a book that raw high grade is probably going to cost you $250 to $300. And again, he continued through issue 25. His second appearance in 16 is about a $30 book. Third appearance is about a $20 book. There are a couple of other keys in there. Now, Finn Jones, who played the character in the Netflix series, wasn't the most popular casting choice of all the Netflix series, and I think it's unlikely that we're going to see him portraying the character in the MCU, unlike Mike Coulter's Luke Cage, and obviously Charlie Cox's Daredevil, John Bernthal's Punisher, Jessica Jones, Kristen Ritter's Jessica Jones. I think we're more likely to see all of those characters, but there are a couple of supporting characters that made their first appearance in the comics in Marvel Premiere, and in number 19, Colleen Wing made her first appearance, and that's about a $40 book. She was portrayed by Jessica Henwick in the Iron Fist series, as well as in the Defenders, and I would love to see that character and that actress back in the role in the MCU at some point. Also in issue 21, Misty Knight made her first appearance in the comics, and that's about a $30 to $40 book. She was portrayed by Simone Messick, in the Netflix series. Again, another casting choice, another character that I think fans would be really excited about seeing come to the MCU, and it could boost that book a little bit. Now, the rest of the books are in the $10 to $15 range, but the last issue in which Iron Fist appeared in Marvel Premiere, number 25, was the first time that John Byrne did the artwork on the character, and that's about a $25 to $30 book. And then Iron Fist and John Byrne went off to his own title. Now, the first 25 issues of Marvel Premiere featured just 3 features: Adam Warlock, Doctor Strange, Iron Fist. After that, there was a constant change in the characters that were introduced. The stories were 1 to 3 issues long, with one exception at the very end of the run, which were reprints anyway. But the first book after Iron Fist, issue number 26, is a big key because it's the first solo story of Hercules. And that's about a $30 to $40 book, which has increased a little bit recently. He was in the book for just 1 issue, but it is a key issue. Now, number 27 is not a first appearance, but it's still a fairly desirable book. It's about a $25 to $30 book. And Satana was not Zatanna, the DC magician, but Satana, the sister of Damian Hellstrom, who had made her first appearance in a magazine, Vampire Tales number 2. So that book is still worth a little bit. Number 28 is a book that, especially over the last year, has become a huge key, a very expensive book. You're probably going to have to shell at least $300 to get a raw, high-grade copy, and that's The Legion of Monsters. Ghost Rider, Man-Thing, Morbius, Werewolf by Night. Marvel, the MCU, is going towards the horror elements. Probably not going to see Morbius, but we could see some combination of the other 3 characters, and that Legion of Monsters book has become a huge key. Number 29 and 30, $10 to $15 books, introduced the Liberty Legion, which is kind of the B-list Golden Age heroes. The A-listers are the invaders. The Liberty Legion kind of became somewhat supporting characters. They were headlined by Wizard and Miss America. We also saw characters like the Thin Man and other less popular timely Golden Age characters. Number 31 is a first appearance, but not a big one. It's a $3 to $4 book, first appearance of Wood God. 32 is about a $5 book. This is a book that actually I think has some possibilities. It's the first appearance of Monark Starstalker, who is a cosmic character and was reintroduced in Nova number 29 in 2009. A character that, if you see the book in a dollar bin, might be worth storing away, just because you never know if, like, James Gunn, decides to throw him into some Guardians of the Galaxy property or something like that. Now, numbers 33 and 34 are, 33 is about a $5 to $10 book, 34 is a $2 book, and it was a 2-part story featuring Solomon Kane. His first appearance in color. Now, Solomon Kane was a creation of Robert E. Howard, who also created Conan the Barbarian. And the estate of Robert E. Howard has licensed the characters out. So Conan was licensed to Marvel Comics through the 70s and 80s. Then for Dark Horse for a while, back to Marvel. Solomon Kane's followed a similar track. He actually did team-ups with Conan in Savage Sword of Conan magazine. So that's not a character we're going to see in the MCU. Numbers 35 through 37, a 3-part story featuring the 3D Man. Not to be confused with the later Avenger Triathlon. It was a character more or less based on the idea of using 3D glasses to watch movies in the 1950s. There really weren't many 3D movies in the 70s and 80s. There was Jaws 3D, which... not as bad as Jaws 4. But that's a character some people speculated on. His first appearance in number 35 is about a $10 book. The others are $2 or $3 books. Number 38, Weird World, first appearance. Don't see much going to that. It's like a $5 book. 39 and 40 were the first solo stories for Torpedo, who made his debut in Daredevil number 126. 39 is about a $5 to $10 book, 40 a $3 book. 41, Seeker 3000. Dave Cockrum cover, kind of a future sci-fi story, $3 book. Number 42 was a one-shot with TIGRA. Now, she's appeared well before this, even had her feature in Marvel Chillers for a while. $5 book, not a big deal. Number 43 is the first solo story, Paladin. A much bigger book is his first appearance in Daredevil 150. This Marvel premiere book is about $5. Number 44, Jack of Hearts, makes his first solo story, about an $8 book. He had his first cameo appearance in the magazine Deadly Hands of Kung Fu, number 21, and his first full appearance in issue 22, which are bigger books for Jack of Hearts. Number 45 and 46 is a Man-Wolf story. Man-Wolf, the son of J. Jonah Jameson, made his first appearance in Amazing Spider-Man 124. That's a much bigger book for him. 45, his first solo story, is a $10 to $15 book, and there's kind of a connection between him and this other realm sci-fi space thing. Number 46 is about a $5 book. Now, the next two books are big keys, and number 47 is the first appearance of Scott Lang as Ant-Man. That's about a $150 book for a high-grade raw copy. It's really a triple key. Now, Scott Lang had appeared in Avengers 181 as just Scott Lang. He becomes Ant-Man in this issue, but it's also the first appearance of Cassie Lang, his daughter, who later becomes Stature, and Darren Cross, who was Yellow Jacket in the Ant-Man movie, and many people are expecting him to come back in Quantumania. So, again, a triple key there. Will the MCU eventually put together like a Young Avengers team? And will Cassie Lang be part of that? I think if they do, they're kind of put the pieces in place. I think she's going to be a character that we are going to see in the future, because also they've recast the character. Obviously, she aged up during Endgame because she wasn't blipped, and the actress who played her briefly in Endgame in just a couple of scenes was recast for the Quantumania movie. Will we see her as Stature at some point in that movie? I think a better than 50-50 chance, but well, remains to be seen. And then number 48, which is a $20 to $30 book, is his second appearance as Ant-Man, and the second appearances of both Cassie Lang and Darren Cross. Number 49 is, I think, a undervalued key. It's about a $10 to $15 book, and it's the first solo story of Falcon. It predates his own miniseries. Sam Wilson is going to be, he's still a part of the MCU. He's the new Captain America. And I think this book is undervalued. I think that Sam Wilson is going to play a central role in any new Avengers properties in Phase 4/Phase 5. I think he's going to kind of be the moral center of the MCU going forward. And he's going to obviously replace Steve Rogers. I think he might also take on some of the role that they were expecting T'Challa to take over as kind of a leader of the group that, obviously, with the unfortunate passing of Chadwick Boseman, isn't going to happen. I think Anthony Mackie can handle that. Number 50 is a really curious key. It's a huge book. High-grade raw copy, $50. Obviously, graded copies are much more. It's the first appearance in comics of Alice Cooper. And, I mean, I guess we could see Alice Cooper is a real-life musician. I guess we could possibly see Alice Cooper in the MCU, but, you know, not like headlining his own, probably just like doing a cameo as himself. But this is kind of a sought-after book because of its uniqueness, sort of like the Kiss comics, the Howard the Duck book, and their magazine. So that's kind of an interesting key. Number 51 through 53 was a 3-issue Black Panther series. Now, Black Panther obviously had his first appearance in Fantastic Four 52. He had his own solo series in Jungle Action. He had his own ongoing self-titled series in the 1970s. And here's in between. So 51 is like a $20 book. 52 is a little bit more expensive. It's about a $20 to $30 book because it's an issue in which Black Panther fights the Ku Klux Klan. And then 53, the third issue that he was in Marvel Premiere, is like an $8 to $10 book. 54 is the first appearance of another character, but not a character that gained any sort of leverage. Caleb Hammer, Western character, $3 book. 55 is a book that was about a $10 book, but now is like a $30 to $50 book. I just sold one on Whatnot for $34 a couple of weeks ago, and that's because of Disney Plus news. It's the first solo story of Wonder Man, who made his debut in Avengers 9, which is an early Silver Age book and a hard book to get. He was dead for a while. He got better. But as we know, Simon, there's been an announcement there's going to be a Wonder Man Disney Plus show, and so that has sent this book skyrocketing. Thanks to Doug Braden, who I had seen last year up in Stormville. There's one of the books we discussed. He actually found it in a box that Streetside Anthony had and said, yeah, set this aside as his first appearance. And since then, I've been grabbing up that book whenever I see it, and usually like $5, $3. So somewhere in this mess behind me, I got some Marvel Premiere 55s. Now, 56 is not a big book. It's about a $3 book. And it's the first cover appearance and the first color appearance of Dominic Fortune. He had premiered in the magazine Marvel Preview #2, and he was created by Howard Chaykin. Interestingly, Chaykin had a kind of prototype or a previous version of this character for Atlas Comics, the very short-lived publisher in the mid-70s, with the book Scorpion #1. Dominic Fortune's been around a little bit, but it's not a book that has any value. Maybe at some point we'll see a little bit more of that character in the MCU, but I wouldn't hold my breath. 57 to 60. This is what I was talking about. It's the only 4-part series in here. And it's a hugely popular character, but a character that's not part of the MCU, and I don't think ever will be. It's Doctor Who. It's based on the 4th Doctor Who from the British television series. And actually, the stories here were reprints from UK comics. The 57, the first appearance in American comics of Doctor Who, is about a $15 to $20 book. The others are like in the $3 to $4 range. And then the final issue of Marvel Premiere, issue number 61 in 1981, was a Star-Lord issue. Not his first appearance or anything like that, just, a Star-Lord story. He'd already had his own solo stories, about a $5 to $10 book. So that's the entire run of Marvel Premiere. It's actually kind of a collectible run to get. There are about 4 issues, I would say, that are difficult to get, that you'll have to pay for. Issue number 1, the first Warlock. Issue number 15, the first Iron Fist. Issue number 28, Legion of Monsters. And issue number 47, the first Scott Lang as Ant-Man. Those are really the only books that you'd probably have to pay over $100 for. I think the other books are collectible. And again, some of these books, the Hercules book, the Wonder Man book, those both have popped recently. Some others might as well, but it's kind of a fun title to look at. Again, it lasted for nearly a decade, 61 issues, and it has these kind of eclectic characters that we'll probably never see again. Wood God and, Caleb Hammer and, the Liberty Legion, Monarch Star Slayer. Star Stalker, not Star Slayer. That's an entirely different character. My apologies to Jim Starlin. Right, that was his character. Anyway, so let me know what you think. Do you have any of these key issues? Are there any of these kind of more unusual issues that you have in your collection? Did you pick them up at the time? Because one of the things about these books is this isn't something that at the time you really didn't pull this, because most of this predates the idea of the comic book specialty shop, but I don't think this is a book that people necessarily would have subscribed to, that they would have, said, okay, now, I was collecting because of Iron Fist and I'm still going to get it. Now that it's Hercules and Satana and Legion of Monsters. It's just kind of one of those things, if you were interested in the character at the time, you'd be like, oh, this is cool, I'll pick this up. I don't even remember if I bought any of these issues at the time when they came out. I have a bunch of them now. and that I picked up over time. So let me know what you think. What do you have in your collection? Are there any of these like kind of really third tier forgotten characters that you're fans of? Leave that in the comments below. In the meantime, you can check out a couple of my other videos. One of these, the top one here, is going to be my comparison of Shumagorath and Gargantos, which has relevance here with issue number 10. And until next time, enjoy your comics.